clinical trials guru. Hit him up cause you know what he do. Hit him on the site cause you know we get it on www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Yeah, Dan Farah in the house. Case you didn't know, about to tell you what he's about. Hit him on the podcast. Random musings for the clinical trials guru. You know who rule. Hit him up if you wanna know about biotechnology, entrepreneurship, clinical trials, and business. Cause you know he is the best. Hold it down from the east to the west. The clinical trials guru.com.
Hey Guru Nation, welcome back to Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. My name is Dan Farah. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing an Oncology CRA, that's Clinical Research Associate, Hamza Khan. Hamza is a young dude from Toronto, right? Are you from Toronto?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, Oncology CRA has been doing it for 3 years. That was his first job after he got his master's degree. I'm going to let him introduce himself. He also does a lot for his personal brand on Twitter and on Instagram and I believe on LinkedIn and just all over, right?
Yep. I'm starting out on the social media thing, so it's growing slowly but surely.
Very smart. You know, Hamza, who I'm interviewing actually next week?
Yep.
I don't know if you follow Stuart the Bear on Instagram.
No.
So it's hilarious. There's this bear. It's a recruiter company. They recruit monitors and research professionals.
Oh, okay.
I believe from Cambridge. And
the US?
Yeah, Boston area. The Boston area. And what they do, they have their Instagram is literally a stuffed animal bear. And it's just a different picture of the bear doing something different every single time. And I just direct message them, hey, can I interview you? It's their Instagram is Steely, SteelyStu. It's a Cambridge, Massachusetts-based clinical recruiting mascot for the Steely group. And
I'm going to check it out.
Check it out. Every picture is the bear. He's like the face of the company. So I'm interviewing the bear on my podcast.
That is crazy. I look out for it. So are they new or have they been in the industry for a while and you just discovered them?
They're a new Instagram account because I always look at the clinical research hashtag.
Hashtag, yeah, that's right.
Because there's not that many research Instagram. There's me, you. There's like a handful of people, right?
There's a handful, yeah. You can literally count on fingers. And like people, okay. Like I don't know the guys that you just mentioned, but like if you wouldn't mention anyone else, I would probably know them.
Like Bench to Clinical and
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Gonna interview the bear, but today we're interviewing you, and you've got a personal brand that you're building.
Yep.
And we were talking offline about, let's get into first why are you building a personal brand for yourself? This is gonna segue into why people in this industry are so secretive about everything, and you're like the opposite. So why?
Yeah, I guess just to give like a better story, I'll start off with like my background in terms of what got me into research and then why I'm doing what I'm doing now, like why we're having this interview right now. So essentially, like, again, a science student, did my undergrad and master's from Queen's University here in Canada. I was always interested in research, was part of like research groups as a research assistant throughout my undergrad and then obviously master's. And then just during my master's, like just 6 months before I was supposed to defend my thesis, I just knew like research, the academia wasn't for me. And then I just started looking for opportunities for science grads outside of academia, right? And so that's when I came across the clinical research industry. And that's an industry that I honestly did not know about. 6 months into my master's program, I did not know that there was a clinical research industry and there's like clinical research associates in there. So then I started researching on the industry, getting to know how everything works. Started looking for jobs, applied for tons and tons of jobs and gave a lot of interviews, and then I was fortunate enough to get an oncology CRA position right off the bat, and then um, and then I would add I did a lot of networking and talked to a lot of people, and that helped me get that position. So then now I've been working as an oncology CRA for the past 3 years. It's been great, and now that I feel like I've had a good enough experience in the industry in terms of I understand certain processes. Like, I'm not a rookie anymore. I'm like a third year NBA player, if you want to look at it. Now I feel like I should put some expectations on myself, and so that's why I've recently started this whole personal branding thing, where I am an oncology CRA in Canada. I have good enough experience, and I have a good understanding of how the industry works. And now I have to plan, but it, it it's super micro. It's super micro in the sense that I want to be able to set myself up on things that I'll be able to do like 15 to 20 years from now. And so if I build my brand from now for the next 10 years, I know, and I put a lot of effort into it, I know I'll be doing well 10 years from now. And that'll open up a lot of opportunities for me. And that's like a business owner, what you're doing, having these clinical research sites, or maybe a transition into big pharma is business operations, clinical operations. So these are just some of the things that that I'm doing for my personal brand, just to set myself up for all these options.
Yeah.
And then again, we talked about how the clinical research industry is such a niche,
so secretive,
such a niche industry. If you think about it, like, just explaining to an average person what a clinical research associate does, it's just a very new thing for them. Like, you're going to have a lot of people that are in business, finance, accounting, and then if you have science people, they're going to be doing medicine or just strictly academic research. So the clinical research industry and the clinical research associate position is very what do you think it is? Like, very secretive.
Yeah.
It's just not out there, right?
Well, I think we're in this unique situation right now in this industry, and keep in mind, everyone listening, this industry is always like 10 years behind every other industry for the most part.
For the most part.
There's other industries similar, but none that come to the top of my head right now. Most industries, they've already gotten accustomed to the fact that there's personal brands, people like Hamza, people like myself in the industry. In ours, we're at this weird transition period where it's pretty soon, maybe next year, maybe 2 years from now, maybe 3 years, it's gonna definitely be an advantage. But I almost feel like us content creators and people building our personal brand right now, it almost works against us for our current job opportunities. I've been turned down for 2 CRA jobs. One, I got turned down at the interview because they found out who I was. And
really?
The second one, they found out after 2 weeks of working there as an independent contractor. And they're like, yeah, we can't really risk the, having the spotlight on us.
I see what you mean, yeah. No, again, it's just inexperience on the behalf of like our industry as a whole. Just like you said, like, other industries are completely fine with it, and it's just like we are in this very initial phase where you're gonna have people start popping up, like me, you, and there's like 3 to 4 other people as well that are gonna do well like 5-10 years from now, and then you're gonna have a lot more people just by listening to us, reading our content, just start personal branding themselves. So I think it's just a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. I know you're a basketball fan. It's like, when Michael Jordan was out, I'm not comparing myself to Michael Jordan. Just wait for the analogy, okay?
Yeah.
When Michael Jordan came out, he changed the game. Everybody then wanted to be like Mike. They wanted to dunk. They wanted to fly, okay? Sure. That was the status quo until Steph Curry came out. When Steph Curry came out, totally changed the game. No one wants to dunk anymore. Everybody wants to shoot threes. Change the game. I feel like content creators and research is kind of like that kind of a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
and I
Like
think
I
it's
don't know
gonna
if
happen.
you're keeping up with the basketball news, but recently I read an article where there's like a lot of these point guards like Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, LeBron, even they kind of don't like Steph Curry in the sense that he just blew up, right? He just came in, had his own thing, shooting threes, was so
Yep.
good at it, he blew up, and they
Yeah.
kind of don't like that.
Yeah. And
And so
now everyone
that's
else is doing it. Like Isaiah
again,
Thomas, James
yeah,
Harden, all those guys.
yeah. And again, it's like not to compare ourselves to those basketball players, but it's like we're like Steph Curry in the sense that we're doing this thing, and then there's other people that are not used to seeing people do this, and then so we will. It's just natural for us to face that kind of backlash right now. But I feel like things will get better for sure.
It will get better, Hamza.
Yeah.
You will win a championship like Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I predict
Yeah,
this.
that's the dream. That's the dream.
I think this translates into everything in this industry, like conferences. I interviewed someone on my podcast 2 days ago. She's brand new in this industry. She's hired for a research company to do business development for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, she Googles it, finds me. She happens to be in the same city I'm in, so we meet up for
Mm-hmm.
lunch. We have a
Okay.
podcast. And she says, I came from the technology industry,
Okay.
and everyone's just so transparent about everything.
Yeah.
They overshare.
Yeah.
And here, no one's
Yeah.
doing this. Like these
Oh,
conferences I go to, they're not even putting out who's going to be presenting or attending on some of their websites.
oh
Like,
wow. Okay.
forget
Just
about live streaming. In
yeah.
other industries, they live stream
They
these
live
things.
stream. Oh yeah, for sure.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
smart thing to do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're working on a conference where we're going to do just that, but it's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
Enough people, like more people like you, more people like Bench to Clinical,
Yeah.
more people like Luke Eddington, as they start producing more content, it's just going to transition. And then you and I and everyone else who gets involved in this space
Mm-hmm.
is going to benefit from that, I
Yeah.
believe.
Exactly. And then I just don't think like the clinical research industry as a whole, a lot of people don't even think about it as a career right now, right? So that's how secretive it is. Like just like I said, I was 6 months away from defending my thesis in my master's program, and I didn't really know much about the clinical research industry until I started Googling like opportunities that are available for science grads, right? So I feel like the industry in itself will have more people just being interested in being a clinical research associate or coordinator or eventually a site owner and stuff like that. So it's very early stages, I feel.
Very
uh,
early, but it can't happen soon enough. Forget about us building our brands. Look,
mhm.
we're gonna get ours. You and
Oh
I,
yeah,
we
for sure. Yeah.
hustle.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
what upsets me, because I'm a research site owner also.
Yeah.
We see how difficult it is to enroll patients,
Oh
and
yeah.
how do people expect patients to just randomly
Show
discover
up.
clinical trials if no
Hmm.
one's talking about it, and if
Exactly.
their own physicians, like
Hmm.
90% of physicians, never heard of clinical research.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
even know it's an option. If you
Yeah.
get those people with the patients to
Hmm.
participate in research, to start their own clinics, to be
That's
principal investigators, you're going to not just get that doctor, you're going to
mhm.
get their database of 10,000 patients,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
maybe 500 of them will do a study at some point.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
doing good for society. So
Yeah.
eventually it's going to happen, and we'll do fine. I mean, personal
Yeah.
brand is great, but for the
Yeah.
greater good of society, it's to get
So
these patients enrolled.
oh yeah, for sure. Like again, like it clinical research is advancing society. Like we can talk numbers in terms of enrolling patients. There is the business side of it, but being involved in clinical research for physicians or for patients is, or even there's a lot of clinical research industry that requires healthy volunteers as well, right? So the clinical research itself advances society, helps find drugs, treatments for diseases and everything, right? So the more people that are aware of it, the more people are there will be that will participate in clinical research, whether it be as a physician, as a patient, or as like a brother of a patient, and that's just going to advance our society as a whole when it comes to diseases, right? So I'm just a
Couldn't agree
huge
more.
believer in the industry right now, man.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Now, oncology. So
Mhm.
So I have a CRA academy. I know a lot of my students are going to be interested in this because
Mm,
it is the highest paying
yeah.
CRA job, right?
Mm, yeah, that's right.
So how did you get into oncology? Because that's from my experiences, I've only interviewed for one or two oncology positions. It was
Hmm.
extremely difficult
Hmm.
to get in. Like, how did you do that?
Okay, so it requires a lot of hard work. So again, 6 months until my I was supposed to defend my thesis, I started networking like crazy, like through LinkedIn, just messaging anyone. uh, at first I focused on people that were an alumni of my own university, right, and seeing what they did after their master's degrees, right. So I was able to meet pharma sales representatives in big pharmas, and then I eventually met a lot of clinical research coordinators, and then I met a couple of clinical research associates. So that's how I was introduced to all the jobs that are available for me. And so the CRA position in itself, um, uh, I guess it attracted me the most out of all the different professionals that I met. And then I just started looking into jobs that are available. You have the usuals: Indeed, Workopolis, LinkedIn. Um, and then I guess so I gave a lot of interviews, obviously got rejections. So how all of the reason I'm talking about all of that is it all really helped me so much to eventually when I eventually got an interview for an oncology CRA position, right? So I was giving all these interviews, didn't get those positions, but that helped me get better in terms of uh, giving interviews, putting things on my resume, just focusing on some of the skill sets that are helpful in becoming a CRA. And so it just happened that there was an academic research organization, so an ARO that had a clinical monitoring position open. I applied to that. I got an interview. And so just to prepare for that interview, I looked back upon all the people that I've met, all the interviews that I've given, just looking at my resume, seeing what skill sets I need to focus on um, in this interview, and then it just happened that I gave the interview and I got the position. Um, not not sure what more. What do you think? What do you think I should focus on when it comes to eventually getting the position?
Well, from my experiences with, so I just interviewed someone who, similar to you, right after school, got a job. But he applied to 180 positions.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, before he even got like one
Oh yeah,
interview.
those are just the normal numbers. Yeah, that's probably true for me too.
Oh, did you apply to that many?
Like I don't think I've ever counted, but I applied to a lot. So like it would be in like hundreds for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're not an anomaly in that case. I thought you
No,
just got one interview and that's it.
no. So I gave a lot of interviews, got rejected, right? So and then it's like and it's the saying where you apply for 100 jobs, you're probably gonna get 10 interviews, and then you're gonna get one job, right?
Right.
So that's just how it works. So yeah, that was the same thing with me. A lot of job postings. I put my resume in and then gave a lot of interviews, and then I was able to get this position. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really patience and just keep doing it. A lot of the students, a lot of people in this industry are trying to get their first break.
Hmm.
I think they give up too soon. Like
Oh yeah.
I had one
Yeah.
student reach out to me and say, "Hey, I'm not having any luck." And I
Hmm.
asked him, "How many have you applied?" And he
Hmm.
said, "3 so far." And I said,
Wow.
you need to add like 2 zeros to that and
Exactly.
then come back to me."
Yeah. No, it's just like so what's interesting to me now is like now I have people contacting me for to network with me.
Hey, you can
So
have
like
much more also.
I find that very I guess exciting in the sense that just 3 years ago I was trying to look for professionals in the industry, and now I have students contacting me to
Isn't that
go out for
crazy?
coffee. That's just crazy. That's crazy how time flies by.
It's
And
crazy how that
so
works.
yeah, like I had a similar experience in the sense that the student, she was yeah, she probably did graduate and she was applying for jobs, wasn't having much luck. But again, she didn't apply to as many jobs as I did, number one. And number two, so the first thing I asked her was, okay, let me take a look at your CV. Because if you're not getting calls back, that means there is something wrong with the CV, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so once I saw that CV, I was like, there's the problem, right? So there is a certain way for you to be able to market yourself in these clinical research positions for recruiters or even companies to consider you, right?
Right.
And so I saw a lot of things wrong in that CV, obviously, and then I helped the student out. We completely redid her CV, like it was a complete 180. And then now it's like, now you start applying, and now is when your number is going to restart. So no matter how many jobs you applied before, if I was a manager, hiring manager, I would not look at that CV just based on how it was, right?
Right.
But now that we've redone your CV, now you apply for jobs, and now let's see what happens. And it's only been like a couple weeks since I met her, but I'm optimistic now. Like she's going to start hearing back from a lot of companies. And I guess the only thing that I would say is, like, just me being there 3 years ago, it is a very stressful time. Like, you're close to being graduating, like you have a lot of debt maybe on your shoulders, and you're just like anxious to know what's next, right? So like you said, it's a lot of it is patience. You got to deploy patience, because when you're graduating, you're still like 22, 24, depending on if you've done an undergraduate or a master's degree, right? That's super young.
Mm-hmm.
That's just super, super young. So you got to be patient, and then strictly look at how your CV is, and then apply, and then just apply to like hundreds of positions, and then things will work out in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so being a CRA in Canada, like
Mm-hmm.
how does that work? I'm actually curious myself.
Mm-hmm. In terms of
Like, is it similar to the U.S. CRAs?
yeah, I mean, like, I don't have US CRA experience, so I don't know what to compare it to, but like essentially I'm pretty sure it is the same in the sense that I travel a lot all across Canada, going to different cancer sites. I work on, so right now I have like 4 trials. I'm working on 4 trials right now. Each trial, so there's 2 trials that are completely active. So there's patients on treatment. So lots of data monitoring in that. And then there's a trial that's close to close out actually. So that's getting ready to be closed out, and then I just had a new project. I messaged you about it too. So and that was one of the reasons we couldn't um, uh, get this thing done before. So that new project popped up, and it's in like site selection phase. So we're just looking for potential investigators that will be interested in that trial,
Oh, I
and then
love that phase.
yeah.
If I can just do site selection visits
Oh
all day
yeah,
long
that's
as
your
a
thing.
CRA, that's my thing.
Oh, okay.
I hate doing the interim monitoring visit. I hate
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
because I that's very interesting because I love monitoring in the sense that you actually get to see, okay, there is this patient on this trial. How is the patient doing?
Yeah.
So that's why I like monitoring, in the sense that, okay, there is a lot of patient data, but I like to keep track of the fact that,
It's like
okay,
a
this
story,
patient,
right?
it is a story,
Yeah.
and
I
then a
guess
lot of
because
this.
I get that from the sites, so I already know
Oh,
like
okay. Oh,
I already
that's right.
know that.
Okay, so you
But
get yeah,
yeah, but I understand, I get it. But site selection visit, except for the report, I don't like those reports because they're
yeah,
long. But
they're
the
long. Yeah,
actual visit, I really like to meet the staff, and
yeah.
sometimes I talk business with the PIs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I like that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, so you go in there as a research site owner, right? Like so.
Yeah, but when I'm going there, I'm going as a CRA.
Oh, you're talking as a CRA. Okay, when you're
Yeah,
going as a CRA, that's right. Yeah,
yeah. As
yeah,
a
yeah.
site owner, I've been on the other side of the many
Exactly. Yeah,
more
that's what I
times.
was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. A big part of being a CRA is you being able to establish relationships with the sites, right?
Yeah.
If you're a good CRA and you have good relationships with your sites, I can almost guarantee that it will be a very smooth monitoring experience. The site will probably look to enroll as much patients as they can, and it's just going to be a good overall experience. But if you're not able to establish that relationship with the sites, and that's where your communication skills come into play. Like, you got to have good, strong communication skills to be able to relay what you want from sites, and in a nice manner, but an assertive manner at the same time, right? So that's just one of the things that's super important when it comes to being a CRA.
Yeah, that's really cool, and you're gonna get so many. I know we're like this content that you're gonna. I've read a couple of your articles already. It's gonna benefit you in the long term,
Oh
and
yeah.
I know you're an employee now, but as an independent contractor, I mean, it's definitely gonna help you out even more there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, how difficult would it be for because I just had this conversation with someone who called me right before our interview, and she was a CRA in South Africa, and she wants to move here. Like, so do you have, like, I'm assuming it would be a little harder than Canada to US, but it's a similar process, right? Like, if
That's
you
right.
wanted to move to the US, not saying that you do, but if you wanted to, how difficult would it be for you to get hired?
Um, I, I, I honestly don't think it'll be as difficult, just because Canada and US are very similar. Um, but I don't know anything about South Africa, so I guess I won't be able to comment on that. But I
Right.
feel like I have a good experience when it comes to oncology being an oncology CRA, and then the skill sets that are required for you to be a successful CRA are the same everywhere, right? So you gotta pay attention to detail when it comes to your monitoring visits, your monitoring reports. So you gotta have a good sense of paying attention to detail. You gotta have great communication skills for you to establish relationships with your sites. And so if you're able to market yourself like that, I don't see how like a company would reject you, right? And those are some of the things that I focused on when I gave my interview for the oncology CRA position, right? So it's just you being able to use your past experiences and focusing on the skill sets that are necessary for being a successful CRA, and then just connecting everything together and marketing yourself in a confident manner. So as far as I'm concerned, like I guess I'm just very confident. Maybe if I eventually decide to move to the US and things don't work out, that confidence might be shattered. But but right now, like, I feel like, yeah, it shouldn't be hard for me per se. And then even for a CRA from South Africa, like if she's has a a good CRA experience, it's just her coming to North America, establishing relationships, networking a lot with CRAs in the field, and then someone knows someone, and that someone knows someone, and then that's just
So
how you
important.
get your jobs, right? So
networking is so underrated. Everyone who wants to break in needs to join ACRP and SOCRA immediately.
It
I'm
just
not
blows me
involved, but
how so many people just apply for jobs and sit at home and are depressed because they're not. But the fact of the matter is, like, networking is just that's what's gonna get you jobs these days. That's just how it is.
yeah, SOCRA,
And even if it
ACRP.
doesn't get you a job, if you just meet with people and talk to them, your own understanding of the industry improves so much that you're able to do so well in interviews.
Yeah, people don't network enough,
Yeah.
especially the ones trying to break into it. So,
Yeah.
as we wrap up, maybe we'll do like these more regularly for the
Oh yeah, I'm down.
podcast. Maybe a
100%.
couple for YouTube. Maybe I'll put
Yeah.
this one on YouTube. I'll try to find some way to get some images on there of you and of myself, and maybe put
Yeah.
on YouTube. But what's the plan for Hamza going forward? Like you said, you're developing your personal brand. So what's the
Yeah.
plan there?
So the plan. So there's two things right now. Again, I'm still young in the industry, so continue getting my experience, getting just because you're never gonna be perfect, right? You always have something to improve on. Just improving on my strengths even more, working on my weaknesses, and then now that I'm starting my personal brand, the idea is just to be I guess a CRA out there on all these social media networks that and if anyone needs any help with regards to getting into the industry, and then I write a lot of blog posts about the industry, certain things that I think could help move the industry forward, and then just tend to like I know if I develop my personal brand and more and more each year, and then 10 to 15 years from now, I just know it'll be super strong, and that'll just open up a lot of opportunities for me. And the world changes every 5 years, so and my prediction is 10 to 15 years from now, you will be, if you don't have your personal brand, you're gonna lose out on certain races in terms of getting certain positions or just be doing well in society. So uh, start developing your personal brand, because it's going to be important. That's why I'm doing it. 10 to 15 years from now, maybe I want to move into pharma, get my own clinical research sites. I know I have all these options, but right now I'm just working, just putting my head down, working, not talking too much, just putting my work in, and then I know the rewards will come.
Oh, they're gonna come. Your Oncology CRA, Hamza, and we got to get you to write for the Clinical Scoop one of these days, right? Anytime you want to put an article or a blog post, hit me up. Let's do more of these podcasts. 100%. Absolutely. Everyone needs to follow Hamza. How do they follow you?
So I'm on Twitter as CRA Expert. So CRAEXPERT, and then you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Hamza Khan. So those are the two platforms that I'm mostly focusing on right now in terms of my personal brand.
I'll put links.
Sure, that'd be good. Thanks.
And I'll actually put this on YouTube because I think that has more reach, and you'll
more
get
audience.
some. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So this will be good. Yeah. Well, Hamza, we'll do it again. I mean, there's so much more we can get into. We've just scratched the surface. But we'll do it again whenever you are less busy.
It's just that's the life of a CRA, but yeah, I'll find time for sure.
That's right. So you haven't decided to quit yet. You know, one of my biggest clients. You know who I have a consulting business in addition to the CRA and the sites. We help people set up their own clinics. We get them studies, do the source stuff, all that stuff, right? So you know what and this surprised me, but it shouldn't have, but it did. My biggest client base are 15-year plus experienced CRAs that don't want to do CRA anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's like my biggest client base. So, but it makes sense. Like,
yeah. I mean, it is a tough lifestyle in the sense that there is a lot of traveling, and so if you've been doing it for 15 years, I totally understand you not wanting to do it anymore. So that's why you gotta be. Again, it goes back to personal branding. Make sure you develop yourself enough, develop a good understanding of the industry, develop a personal brand so that you can market yourself to other positions and move up in the industry, right?
That's right. Are you going to be at Bio this year in San Diego?
I actually have. It's unfortunate that I have a client meeting that week, so I wouldn't be able to.
Okay.
Go
well, we'll meet up sometime.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll set something up. 100%. And if you ever come down to Toronto, you know who to hit up.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you up, man. We'll go watch DeMar DeRozan. Score 50.
Sure, yeah. Yeah. All right. Nice talking to you, Dan.
Awesome, Hamza. Well, thank you very much. We're gonna have you on again, and thank you, Guru Nation, for listening and watching. Go follow Hamza and follow how he builds his personal brand. I think he's definitely onto something here, and other people are going to follow suit pretty soon. So thanks for coming on, Hamza.
Thanks, Dan.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. So hey, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you leave a review, if you could be so kind, please.
And also go to theclinicaltrialsguru.com if you're interested in learning more about who I am, who some of my guests are. You can have access to some of my YouTube videos. I do a lot of videos about clinical research. So go to theclinicaltrialsguru.com, and you can also call or text me anytime, 949-415-6256. Also follow me on any social media platform. It's Dan Svera. And you can also email me if you'd like, dan@theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you very much.